Hey, hello, and welcome to Terri Messenger's Genius Zone. And, as I say every single week, this is the place and the space where you are going to shift the needle in your life because every week we bring on a superstar. We bring on a coach, healer, and leader to impart their wisdom, to talk about their authentic story. And with no further ado, today I'm going to bring forward a wonderful woman. She is really self-invented. She completely created herself from the ground up through, lots of experience in sales, going through many elements of career paths. And she became the founder of Reroute the Script. Now, this incredible woman, she understands that people want success, but they quite often undermine themselves. So this is going to be a great podcast if you are ready to leave your mark on the world, because she believes your mark is your movement, your mission, and she understands very well that limiting beliefs can absolutely capture your life and keep you stuck and paralyzed, and you don't have to stay that way anymore. So if you're ready to rise, if you are ready to speak your truth, if you are ready to stay to the end and experience an incredible sequence where she's going to help you reroute the script, then you're going to want to get yourself relaxed, your favorite drink, sit back, relax, and with no further ado, I introduce Kelly Parker. How are you, Kelly?
I'm wonderful. So glad to be here.
Fantastic. And where are you?
I am in Kentucky, USA.
Beautiful. So we are all on the other side of the world from each other. And it just goes to show that it doesn't matter whether we're in Rome, Paris, London, Kentucky, Australia, New Zealand. We are all the same. We are all human. We all have limiting beliefs. And we all really get down on ourselves. But, for you have invented yourself here. And you had a massive download transmission on your signature program of rerouting the script. Now, firstly, I think we better speak in plain terms for our listeners. What exactly does rerouting the script mean?
The script that I'm referring to is our limiting beliefs, basically, or all the beliefs that we developed as a child. And a lot of them are limiting, not all of them, but I'm focusing on the limiting beliefs. But we have to first find out what they are, where they came from, and see how they've affected our lives all the way to today. And you can see that pattern once you see them first and experience them back when they happen, and then you can know and be aware of what they are, and then that's the starting point of rerouting them in truth.
Wow. So that's going to be something that we are going to get to do at the end. So that's exciting. And I cannot wait to experience that. And when I experience it, everyone that listens into the show is going to experience it too. So obviously you are right, because they say that, all our beliefs are set up between the ages of 0 and 7.
Yep.
And they can be good, bad, happy, and sad. However, as you have very wisely pointed out, it's where we come unstuck, really, and when things are not working. And it's even getting to that point because some people don't even realize that, hang on a minute, it's just a belief.
Yep.
This is not true.
Yep.
This is not truth, because It's just something that I am telling myself. And they often say that fear means false evidence appearing real. So, what happened for you? Tell us a little bit about your story. You talked about going from career path to career path,
Mm-hmm.
and how you would start out very excited, and it was almost like you had shiny object syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And you would kind of find that energy falling flat, and
Yeah.
then you move on. And I think this is a big trap that a lot of people fall in. They go for the next shiny object syndrome, and then they kind of find that that wears out, and then they move to the next. What did you actually discover? What was it that you actually discovered was the reason for that? Because a lot of people do it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
what was the reason?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. It's just that is exactly what I did. I was uh, always, I guess I was always looking for something to help me be successful. I wanted to be successful, and shiny objects, I like to shop. And so it's like, oh, I like this. Oh, gosh, I got to have this. And I got to do it right now because I might miss out on it later. I was always fearful of missing out too. So I would see some opportunity. And of course, people are usually recruiting you, trying to get you to join them. And,
Yes.
you're going to be able to do this. It only costs this. These products are great. You can win this trip. The company's the best there is. And so it was so exciting at the beginning. Like, how can you not do
Mm,
this?
yes.
And then, you're excited and you get take off and you're doing pretty good and they're cheering you on and helping you. And then it gets less and less and it starts to fizzle and fizzle out, that initial excitement. And I've come to realize that it fizzles because it's not my fire,
Mm.
my true passion that's lighting me up. I'm using other people's. I'm borrowing theirs. I'm feeding off of theirs. And once you realize it's not in alignment with what my purpose is, even if we don't know what it is at the time, that's what's happening. And it fizzles. You can't sustain that excitement and that passion because it's not yours. So you can't sustain it for somebody else. And I've realized now, I didn't then. I didn't know what was going on then. I had other reasons, all these other reasons, that my inadequacies and all that, my shortcomings. And possibly part of it could have been some of those things, but the main reason is because it wasn't my purpose. It wasn't fueling my flame, my spark that I had at the beginning. And it got a little bigger, but then it fizzles back down. And I didn't have that internal passion to keep that going. And it's a totally different whenever it's rooted in your purpose. Your purpose. We all have one. And I was mistakenly borrowing other people's over the years and trying to just use theirs to get ahead and to be successful. And it lies within us.
That's huge. I mean, that is absolutely huge. I am sure there's going to be some great big massive pennies dropping right now,
Yeah.
because sometimes people don't even realize, why is it that I keep doing that? I'll go to one thing and then I'll go to the other, and I'm always excited when I start, and then next thing you know, it fizzles out and I go to the next.
Yep.
And really
And,
what you
and
have discovered
and
is it's about purpose.
yes. And it's so funny because at times, the people around you, my children, and friends and family, it got to the point where I would see the next one and I say, oh, I'm doing this. And then it would be something would be said like, oh goodness, what is she doing now? What are you doing now, Mom? What's it this time? And so and then when you hear that, that is also just knocking against your confidence too. They don't believe in you. They don't think you're going to do it because you never have. So it's feeding those negative thoughts you already had, and it's adding to them. So you really go into it a little less empowered to do it, a little less belief on your own part, even though you say this is the one. There's always that. And then you've got the fear of going out there like, okay, they heard me talk about this 2 years ago. Now I'm going to go out there and talk about this. They're going to not believe me. They're not going to trust me because that she hops from this to that. It is just a whole mass of just hits that you take and internalize.
Yes, and this is what I took from you that I was able to learn from you backstage. And firstly, that is that for people, I mean, I have never been an employable person anyway, so I wasn't easily roped into, network marketing or, different things, but I was always a very, very good salesperson. But, there is something to be said about living somebody else's mission and living your own. And that is exactly what your point here is.
Yes.
And so, what I have literally learned from you is number one, identify what it is that is your mission, what lights you up, and notice, what it is usually that you could do for hours.
Yep.
And what aligns with your values, and pay attention to your natural gifts as well.
Yep.
So as you kind of progressed, what I learned from you is that your gift has come out through your adversity. So this is my favorite saying at the moment, your adversity became your university, literally.
Oh, I love it. Yes, it did. It did.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yep.
And I wasn't even planning on that. It's so funny how it works because, I figured these things out and I stumbled upon it. And then I'm like, this is profound. People need to know how to do this because it's life-changing. And so I think, now that I can see how people develop their own methods and frameworks of business and all, but I never dreamed I would have my own even, I just knew I wanted my own business, but to have my own method and signature method, I'm like, so it's just like I'm going, it just keeps stacking and it's exciting, but you don't realize it until you are aware. You've got to be able to find out why are you getting held back.
Yeah. And I'm going to really bring out, some of the gold that you have discussed with me, because obviously we want to give our listeners, the greatest value. That's always my promise, that we will give very, very good value. So firstly, Kelly, the number one thing that you're very passionate about is obviously, apart from knowing thyself and getting to know who you are, is to identify your limiting beliefs and what thoughts of fears and what's keeping you stuck. What is one of the best ways for a person to come to know what their limiting beliefs are?
I've always heard of limiting beliefs. You hear about them. They say we've all got them. They started back around, 7 or younger. And I'm thinking, okay, I've got limiting beliefs. Okay, we all do. I don't have much confidence. Why am I insecure? We hear about it, but it's very surface level. And I stumbled upon a way to really identify them. I mean, and feel them over again. You can actually feel your emotions from 3rd grade. you know. And so we need to go back to then. We need to go back to when they were really showing up in childhood for us to experience it, and then we can compare and see how they're same exact things happening now. And then it's almost like, wow, here we go. This is, so that's how we have to really focus and dig deep and visualize and put us there to
Yeah.
when they were actually coming about.
Yeah.
The things that were happening.
You talked about the way you were thinking about yourself, and it wasn't that fancy. You
No,
know,
I
you
know.
thought you thought you weren't good enough.
Yep.
Do you want to go through some of those, thought processes that you were actually telling yourself before we teach everyone how to turn them around?
Yeah, yeah. I was back in school, and I was always a bigger girl. I was never the cute little petite things that made cheerleader, even though I wanted to be one so bad. I wanted to be cute. I never thought I was pretty. I had buck teeth, and so I never felt pretty. And then I always compared myself with the little cute petite ones. I wanted to be the teacher pet. I wanted to be needed. I wanted her, I would be inside grading papers for the teacher versus being outside and playing. Because outside on the playground, if we were picking teams for kickball or whatever, I was always last. I wasn't athletic. I was always last. I was always last in all of the physical fitness things, that we had to do. I mean, the big long mile run, I was last. I just couldn't succeed at anything. I felt like I never could be the winner of anything. I tried out for cheerleader twice, didn't make it either time, crushed my soul. And then I would, show it in ways like talking about one girl that did make it. There's no way that she's better than me. She's pigeon-toed even. Look at her, I would find ways. I would have a crush on a little boy, and he would talk to me, and I would feel like I would just a blooming flower. But then he might say, would you go over there and ask so-and-so, a cute little girl, if she likes me? And sure, I would say, okay. And even though it just crushed me,
Yes.
I would go do it for them because I wanted them to be happy. I wanted to please them. I wanted, I don't want anybody to feel any type of conflict or whatever. I wanted to please everybody, but I wanted to be included. I mean, it was just like I was dying to be included, and the validation that I needed from everybody else.
But you do understand, and I feel that this is really the turning point in your career, is that you understand so very, very well that everybody is worthy. However, it's also coming back to that great challenge, that adversity, and how you felt that has brought you to being this incredible mentor, this incredible coach, and a person who has a mission and a vision to grow people and really help them to show up. Because one of the things you also mentioned backstage is so many people are afraid to show up.
Yeah.
So many people are afraid to use their voice. And and then you talk about authenticity, and it's great that you have been able to really create that power through your genius zone, because that's what this show's about.
Yeah.
It's about that pain turning to power. Anthony Robbins, he became this great iconic transformation person because he had such a depraved life.
Yep.
because, sometimes he wouldn't even be able to celebrate Christmas.
Yep.
Oprah Winfrey, she had her major adversities as well.
Yep.
And, because you know what it's like to be in that position, you came to learn. But it's quite incredible how you had that moment when just suddenly you were able to go back into your mind's eye and go on a journey and see that little girl.
Yeah.
What happened when you saw that little girl? What did you discover?
First of all, I felt very sad for her. My heart broke for her at her desperation of wanting to belong. I just wanted to belong and be wanted. And I can still feel that desperation that she had. Um, it's it just kind of it's sad because I think I've used that as a shell of a confidence that I have portrayed because I've always looked confident on the outside and I've not been too shy about doing things, but to reveal myself, to be vulnerable, and to say that because we think if we're vulnerable, we're weak. And it's
Yeah.
the total opposite. I mean,
Yeah.
it is the total opposite.
Yes.
And
Yes.
being vulnerable is a strength.
Oh, it
I mean,
is
it's a
very
strength.
much.
And I also realized that I've got a story that could connect with so many women, especially, that I guarantee you there's so many women listening right now that experienced what I experienced. I just know
Mm,
it. And
yeah.
then it's not something that we find out some things that we don't really like. It makes us a little sad, you know. And it gave me it just stuck a little spear at my backside to say, this is your mission. This is
Wow.
your story. This
Yes.
is your impact because you can help other women get past it as well. This is
Mm,
it. And so it just gives me a reason to get up in the morning. You know, I get up excited now. And it's life changing. It really is. And so many
mm.
of us, I mean, I'm 56. I was 56 before I discovered truly what's been holding me back.
Wow. So it just goes to show that, it is never too late. You look
No.
amazing for your age, by the way.
Oh,
How important is it to embrace your story? Because obviously, when you're talking to other people who are really wanting to make an impact on the world
mhm,
and you're helping them to move forward, I would say from what you are saying that being vulnerable, being such a superpower in their business
mhm.
and what they're doing and with their success, that obviously means that they need to accept their story. Do you feel that accepting and facing the truth and releasing the shame and actually dealing with it head on actually frees them so that they can actually be free to move forward?
I do. I think that some of us may take a little longer, though, depending on what you uncover, you know, because some things are more painful than you might think. And it may take you just a little bit to um, accept it um, because sometimes it's not that easy to accept. Uh, like I had to accept my desperation. You know, I was a good girl. I made good. I was I took up a little bit of space. I didn't want to cause problems. I was the good girl and uh, made the good grades and did what my parents wanted. I wanted to, make everybody happy. But I've never thought about myself. really. I did what
Mm.
it was kind of supposed to do. I
Yeah.
did what I was supposed to do. And I think that once that we can realize it's our story, and it's a story that we should, I don't want to say glamorize or anything, but to take hold of it, own it,
Embrace it. Yeah. Like you
embrace
said,
it,
embrace it.
and
Yes.
use it to help others.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what, yeah, our adversity could be the medicine that other people need. And our struggles and our overcoming can be what they need to hear.
Mm.
Them, I mean, what you say to somebody could be the turning point in their life.
Exactly.
And
Absolutely.
that's a responsibility. I feel like it's my obligation,
Mm.
to make a difference. That is,
Mm.
so I look at it as, which I love that obligation, but
Yeah.
I look at it as I'm responsible for everybody I come in contact with, and I'm going to use whatever it takes. And if it needs to be my vulnerability and my struggles and my shortcomings and my insecurities and my failings and all, I'm going to use it because it's in my arsenal. I can use it.
Yes, yes. So obviously, really understanding your limiting beliefs and understanding also that you can recognize the root cause. So, like Kelly has just said, by actually understanding that a lot of these limiting beliefs are coming from, a story that you heard, that you told yourself a long time ago. But then once you recognize the root cause of it, then you move on to the next part. And
Mhm.
that part is, as Kelly said, it's not about glamorizing it, but it's about accepting, embracing it. And there's something very, very powerful in being able to do that. Now, last but not least, and this is where the whole foundation of your wonderful program comes from, rerouting the script. Now, because I'm a trainer of NLP, in the world of NLP, where I'm teaching people acquisition, and it's
Mhm.
very powerful, and it's built all around these elements, we talk about recoding, rewriting, and you talk about rerouting.
Mhm.
And in my mind, I'm kind of gathering this vision, and I would ask you to please correct me,
Okay.
but this is how I see it. I'm
Okay.
imagining my client going right back to when they were a child and when they were in that place and space where they were devastated, they lost out on something, they were bullied, or they were made to feel insecure or unloved from a parent, and whatever that is, going back and obviously identifying it, recognizing it, and then actually going down and uprooting it
Mhm.
and lifting it from the very root. And what happens when you pull something from the roots, it's kind of releasing all the other stuff, like all the leaves and the other parts that are around it. But that's how I'm seeing it. And then we talk about rewriting it. So
Mhm.
then what are we going to put in its place? So let's talk about what you did and how you journaled, and perhaps you can just cover what I just said about uprooting, and you call it rerouting, and
Mhm.
perhaps define the difference.
Yeah. Well, we have to uproot it before we can reroot it. So that's the first step, is uprooting it, digging it out, going deep, digging all the way down to the tips of those roots and finding out where it came from, where it started. And right now, those roots are rooted in a foundation of beliefs, not necessarily truths. So it might be based on um, something that was said. Maybe it was based on never uh, seeing your parent. Maybe they worked all the time. Maybe it was a lot of yelling in the house and you felt like they're always arguing. I think it's me. They would rather argue than talk to me. There's so many things. I was always made fun of a lot because I was always, like I said, a bigger girl. I wasn't obese, but I was taller and chunkier. I was not, I was overweight. But and I think when I experienced the making fun of, it was the bullying. Today, bullying is at a whole nother level, but nevertheless, it felt the same to me back then because that was all I had to measure it against. That was bullying. So we have to uproot that because it's all based in what it's planted in, what it's sitting in is just your environment. It's your culture, your environment, and the beliefs that have come from being around that environment. That's the foundation you're in, and it has to come out of there. We've got to uproot that and dig, like I said, dig deep.
Yeah.
Once we uproot that, we can now focus on truth. We're going to look at who you are, what you have, and then we're going to plant it and reroot it back in truth. Because belief and truth are different. They can be the same, but they not necessarily. So we want to just make sure that what we're going to reroot it in truth, and those will be our new beliefs based on truth. Because a lot of times that our worthiness is based out of something that's not true. Just not true.
Yeah.
I don't have any skills. That's not true. I'm not qualified. That's not true. And I'm going to prove to you that that is not true.
And not qualified in what?
Right.
This is
exactly.
People generalize, they put a blanket over themselves. But like you're pointing out, when you're really getting to the crux of it, and they're having that realization, hang on a minute, what am I saying to myself here? And it's come to me that our listeners are going to be, in that space and place where they're fearing showing up. That's what I'm getting as a download.
Yep.
And maybe this is going to serve some people out there that are going to be listening to this. And whether it is when it drops or whether it's 6 months' time from now or even 6 years' time from now, I'm really understanding that your audience is that person out there that wants to show up, but they've got a lot of fear around it. They're procrastinating.
Yep.
And also they're shrinking themselves and they're not expressing themselves because they're afraid to speak their truth. They see being authentic as a weakness rather than a strength.
Yep.
So if we can set the scene for that, and let's just say I'm representing every person out there that would love to experience this. I'm going to ask you now, like what we have promised to our listeners, let's go through this exciting sequence.
Yes, let's do. We don't need to play small anymore. All right. So I want you, first of all, to just try to clear your mind completely. And I want you to go back to a time, and I would like for you to go back to a time, early grade school age, probably. And you can go back to sitting in your classroom. You can go back to being on the playground, sitting at your dining room table at home, sitting in your bedroom.
Can I just say something? Yeah. I've already had something flash up. That's really weird because I wasn't going to do that. Oh. Suddenly, I was in my grade 3 classroom with Mrs. Ford, and she used to call me a daydreamer.
Oh, funny.
And then I had this just flash of being this little girl walking out of the class and everybody taunting me, calling me daydreamer. Anyway, I just thought I would say that. I had to say that.
Good, because that's what I want people to experience. Just a certain, when you're sitting there and you're looking around that classroom and you see your teacher and you see your classmates, and something like that pops up, a memory. It's a memory that pops up, and somebody says to you, you know, you're a daydreamer. Well, what does that mean? That you don't concentrate, you can't focus, you're not participating, you aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're not a good student, you're careless.
And then Martin Luther King was a dreamer. You know, some of the biggest,
but we don't know that. Yeah,
leaders in the world were dreamers.
Yeah, and then people like rude kids. You know, kids can be brutal. Just take off on it and add to the flow. But that's exactly what I want people to experience, to go back and to pick up something. Because when I did it, if I went out on the playground, then I would have another memory. Something else would come up. Like I said, I would be picked last, or somebody would want to just really, beam me when you're playing keep away or something, whatever that one dodgeball thing. There were so many things. And so that one particular instance, though, made an impact on your life. That one thing. That's just one of thousands. And that could be interpreted in so many ways. But once it happens, then the next time another instance of similarity happens, it'll reinforce that. It'll reinforce that you're a daydreamer. You are.
It's like a compound effect, isn't it?
And then it gets to where you're like, you're a dreamer. Like what you are thinking about is not attainable. What you are dreaming about, keep on dreaming, honey. Just like when people wanted, go to be a movie star, all these things. I want to be a pro basketball player. It'll never happen. We are totally knocked down because our dreams are not reality. And it affects us. We want to make sure. Now, a lot of times things come from our parents and our grandparents and our siblings and our teachers and everywhere. And a lot of times, I'm not saying this is true for everything, but a lot of times these are not ill-intended at the time. A lot of times a teacher may be saying that, thinking that she's helping you to stay in reality. She may have done it out of what she knew, what her limiting beliefs were, through her lens of life. And she was doing it out of the goodness of her heart to help you. To not do that because you're going to be disappointed. And a lot of times our parents do the same thing to protect us.
Because everybody comes from, and this is a NLP presupposition, the highest intention. And
most of the time, yeah,
they do the best with the resources they have at the time.
Yeah.
So as I am seeing that little girl, what's the next step?
I want you to think about how it made you feel then, and what do you think it did in your adult life? Like, can you see that thought that, I'm a daydreamer, my dreams are too big, I don't do what, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I waste time.
I know how it was really an energetic feeling that came from that seed of limiting belief thought. And the energy behind it was definitely intimidation.
Uh-huh.
I felt intimidated. So I feel that, yes, I can see how that little girl did emerge. Obviously, before I did a lot of inner work, and she still pops up from time to time to show a little face.
Yep.
And, but I can see that. And that's like little Terry. So
Yep.
then what do I do with that then?
It's so funny. I love the word intimidation because I'm easily intimidated too, just because of other, same things. But once you realize that that if you still see it popping up, because you saw it before you did your work on yourself, you could see it, that you were easily intimidated by certain things. People could intimidate you. I'm easily intimidated. Some people aren't. I'm easily intimidated. So maybe you were easily intimidated until you started realizing, and worked on yourself to better yourself. But if it comes back up, and she pops her ugly head back up, making you feel intimidated for wanting something, first of all, just catch that thought. Catch it really fast. That's why you have to be aware first that it's there, that it came from there, and now you think, "Oh, I'm getting intimidated. Somebody's letting this."
I know how you.
We got to catch it. Catch that thought very fast. So you got to be quick-handed, and then just drop it. Catch the thought, drop that thought, and reroute it in truth. I'm not intimidated. This does not intimidate me. I'm not easily intimidated. Look what I've done. And then you're going to look at the proof in your life where you haven't been intimidated.
Yeah.
Go back and find actual proof where, look what I did here. And look what I did here. People didn't believe me either. And look what I did here. That's the truth. That is where you want to reroute that.
I love that.
And the truth.
So you're catching it. You catch it first.
Drop it.
And then you identify it, and then you drop it, and then you reroute it.
In truth, because there's lots of places. Yes, in truth.
Yeah. So because that's true. Yeah. So that's true.
We all have evidence of the opposite of what we're throwing away. There's so much evidence to show you, even if it's something that is like, I'm not equipped or I'm not qualified. Look what you did right here in this span of whatever years of raising your children. You are very, very equipped to handle this.
Absolutely.
There is
experience.
Yes. We have a lot of evidence in our lives we don't realize, and I can point that out and show you once I know your story. This right here is where the truth is. It is not in this. Ditch it.
I love it. So just to bring conscious competency to our listeners, you are obviously looking at whatever it is that's going on in your world at the moment, and it may be in that sense of, I don't want to show up, or I'm not good enough. You've got to be able to trace it back. It's like detective work.
Yep.
Then allow yourself, like I saw my inner child.
Yes.
Grab it.
Yeah.
And then drop it.
Drop it.
And then reroute it. Now, this is the part I like next, because I'm just going to open this part up. And that is that we reroute it by understanding that that's no longer true for me now. That's in the past. Yeah. So today, I'm actually empowered. I'm not that little girl anymore. And then anchor. So go back and ask yourself all the times that you have done a really great job. And this is what I love. Yes. And I'm just bringing the conscious competency around what you just said. So bring up perhaps 3 memories or more, I always say, around your confidence, around your courage, around your empowerment, and anchor them in. Yep. And then what's the next step?
Then go tell somebody else. Go tell and share, because the more you do, the more that you're going to get revelations. Every day, every time I do a podcast, more things are revealed to me. The more I talk about it, the more it empowers me, because I can see it more clear every day. So whenever you are rerouting that in your truth, because there's evidence in your life, so much evidence to plant it in some truth, it will change you, first of all. It will empower you, and it will light something up in you. That's where we're going to draw your purpose from.
Awesome. I love
That's
that.
where that magic is going to happen. Now, that's whenever we need to decide, what is your purpose? We've got to figure it out. We're going to make it work, and we're going to impact your world with it and be successful. And you could have a business that is life-changing for others. Whatever it is, that's the way it's going to come about. That's where you're going to find your sweet spot, right there.
Woo! Now, did you hear that? What Kelly has just said? Well, do you know that you can make this your reality? You can go to our show notes and you can find Kelly so that you can go through this. But she's going to give you that bespoke ability to really tap into your empowered self. You'll be able to unleash your authentic version, understand that your story is your glory, and create your success through being able to acknowledge and own your life. Kelly, I just want to thank you so much, but I do have one last question, and it just would not be, and time has just gone so fast. We're already after 45 minutes, but it just would not be right if I didn't ask you this question. When we get off the call, if we got off the call and you left this out, now maybe it's something you've already said and you would like to reinforce it,
Okay.
or it's something that you would love to say to this person out there that is in this position. What would you say? Last words, what would you tell them?
I would first tell you, you have value. Every person listening to this has value. You have a story that matters. Whether you think it does or not, it does. And you have a story that others need to hear. And I think that you do too. Because you might not realize what your real story is. And I think that that is part of the beauty of doing this whole process, is learning and understanding your story, realizing it's powerful, and that you have value. Every person listening has something somebody else needs. And that's our mission, is to go find those people and change your world. Make your mark.
Kelly Parker, thank you so much for coming on this show and teaching us how to really turn your story into your glory.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.